Man, I can't win for lighting. I don't know if that's a popular expression. I can't win for losing. But I got the lamp I like. I finally screwed around with it, the cord, and fixed it. And I think the other lamp is actually better for lighting than this lamp. But anyways, um, I didn't sleep but a few hours and woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I definitely had my opportunity for a walk. And I wanted to walk all the way to the big street. But I still walked further than I ever walked before. And touched the green uh, paper recycling bin about 10 yards from the big road, the main drag through Canton and Maslin. In Canton, it's called Tuscaroras, which is an Indian name, which is cool, while Canton is not cool. In Maslin, it's just called Lincoln Way. As I guess as in Abraham Lincoln, I don't know, but not as cool. But Tuscaroras, yeah, that's cool. We just call it Tusk. Back in the day, because Tuscaroras was too hard to say when you was smoking the ganja. Nah, man. Uh, I was thinking a lot, as always, as I tend to do. It's about 42 degrees and rainy outside. And I do got the window open, man, but it's just too damn hot in here. I'm going to have to lose the coat and the hat. I think I just worked up a sweat. But I tried to walk last night, and it's difficult when you got anxiety and you got the benzo thing and you have actual heart thing going on. So you don't know if you're just nervous. You don't know if your head's fucking with you. You don't know if your heart's fucking with you. But during this corona thing, till they get it figured out a little bit, I'm going to start just like, this is probably paranoid that my heart feels weird while I'm walking. But I'm just going to stop walking because I have a feeling if I go into a hospital, I ain't coming out. Because you can't go around having like AFib arrhythmia and the COVID thing at the same time. Hearts and lungs work together. Like, it's sort of like a quarterback and a center, man. And that heart is the center snapping it to the quarterback, which is your breathing. Because your breathing is like, if people don't know how to breathe right, they don't know how to relax, they don't know how to get in those meditative states. But your breathing is like your quarterback, your mood. And like, that's like when you have an anxiety attack, where you got to concentrate on getting your breathing slowed down and just like overcome it through breathing techniques. So the breathing is the quarterback, and the heartbeat is the center. The center always got to get the ball to the quarterback, or the play is going to turn into a fumble, or your quarterback just laying on the ground smushed. So, anyways, get this coat off. Whoa. Oh, I'll be glad when I bought new clippers, because I'm not suffering through them old clippers again, man. I'll be glad when they come in the mail and I can clipper my hair. And you know, bald can be beautiful. Usually not on people this pale, but this is not a good look for anybody. You know, I have that commanding intellectual forehead, though. You know, used to do that phrenology thing where they it's in the movie, one of them Tarantino 18-hour movies, Django Unchained, where the guy's into phrenology and he's studying skulls, and he's like, they used to think that you could tell intelligence and stuff by the shape of people's skulls and stuff, and like they were, I think even H.P. Lovecraft, famous racist writer, had people with high brows. It's just an illusion anyway, man. Once you start to lose your hair, man, That brow get higher and higher, and I ain't getting smarter. I'm getting stupider as I get older. I know that. I ain't as sharp and quick as I used to be. I ain't writing no novels or no stories. I'm just trying to survive here. Oh boy. Nah, I didn't really enjoy being outside all that much. I'll take my shoes off while I'm at it. But I was thinking about meaning while I was walking, because, I can't be looking around or I'll fall. I got to concentrate on walking, keep my focus, but I can still think while I'm walking. I was thinking about meaning and how important that is. Like, you ain't got meaning, you ain't got nothing. And if you're suffering, through 33 years of a chronic pain generating disease, and your body hurts, and you got no prospects, and you got no hope, you got to find meaning. And my meaning, I always was selfless and in the family. And my meaning was helping my family out. And then, so that's why it was bad to get stabbed in the back. And realize, like, the people that you've been trying to help, trying to develop their character and shit, you done failed. You just have to deal with that. You failed. You can't change people. You ain't changing nobody. They got to change themselves, man. And I watched, I think it was a Jordan Peterson thing. I always got to give people credit for whatever thoughts they came up with. But they were like, they were talking about alcoholism. And they're like, you got to leave those people behind because they're dragging you down. And maybe by your example, they might take a look at their own selves and be like, when you kind of like cohesive in that codependent type of thing, where nothing's changing, nobody's improving, nothing, it just stays the same. But if you got the stones, it can take the pain and the alienation to break away and stop whatever your shitty habit is. Then people might have to examine themselves. I don't got enough room on this damn bed for my big ass body. Too big. Being small is an evolutionary advantage, they say. This light sucks and it's got to rearrange everything. Ridiculous. Okay, that heater's still hot. I think my hand can handle it. Try to get this better. No, I don't know. I can't see anyway. I just feel like them glasses, dorky ass bifocals. It's one of the things I've been suffering with. Not buying contacts. And, saving up my money so I can have a lot of money while I'm trapped inside with the COVID virus waiting to die. I don't fucking understand this. Just don't understand it. I did see people out there driving around. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, so the world ain't shut down completely. I noticed there was a lot more cars. Like, the families are kind of like rallying around the family with a pocket full of shells. They're kind of like all huddled together in their houses. There was a lot of cars parked outside, like next door. Like, people want to be together and wait out the crisis. And I'm like, ooh, that would be a nightmare for me. But here's the thing, like, my brother's dog is sick. And my brother grieves over like 17-year-old cats that died. Okay, it's like, I always tell him the same thing. He gave that cat the best life that it could possibly have. He's the best pet owner in the world, the most caring person, looks after him. He spent like $3,000 or something, like, to have an operation on his dog. And then 2 days ago I talked to him, and I can hear the dog wheezing in the background. It's a big dog. It's a mastiff, 140 some pounds or something. They don't live too long, and I don't know how old he is, but he's already had an operation. And once you had a serious operation, you ain't never the same. I can testify to that. And I suppose it's the same for dogs. But he was like, I don't want to talk, like 2 days ago. And then yesterday I was like, he'll call me. I'm like, I ain't volunteering for that. I ain't volunteering for either abuse or disregard, or I always help him through his grieving process. which, you know, there's nothing nothing you can say, but, you know, that's like his brother. That dog is like his brother, you know, and big part of his identity even. And yeah, so I don't know if it died last night, if it made it or not, but frankly, I don't know if I can handle it. You know, it's like, it's rough to be that guy. Okay, it's rough to be the emotional support guy. It lends meaning to your life and shit, but when you don't get it back, it makes you resentful. Like when you're not even listened to over your problems, and then you got to be like, you know, listening to somebody, helping them through their grief, you know, and going through the pain with them. It's another Jordan Peterson thing. It's like a friend is someone that suffers with you through the bad times. You know, that's how you can tell who your friends are. As a matter of fact, when things get rough, your non-friends get going, and that's what you find out with the benzo thing. Is like you find out who's really on your side. You know, I started needing extra support even before I was quitting the benzos because I had problems with my knee, and I found out, well, you know, a certain family member that I've been supporting for ever since I remember, 30 years plus, that I helped go through all kind of shit. I ain't gonna go into because it's too personal, you know, but incarcerations, addictions, personal meltdowns, you know, done cried on my shoulder hundreds of times, and then I cry on their shoulder once, and then I get contempt, I get scorn, I get, what do you want me to do? You know, how about being a goddamn human being? And then I had enough stones to pick up that phone and put myself out there again and get slapped in the face again. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? Just tell me. It's real simple. When you fuck up, you admit you fucked up, and you leave it at that. You know, I don't even need an I'm sorry. You don't even gotta be sorry about fucking up. It helps to be remorseful, but just admit reality. That's what I need. You know, don't play it off like it's a small thing. One, no small thing. It ain't never gonna be no small thing. And if I don't never get to talk to that person again, I mean, our relationship's totally and irrevocably changed no matter what. It's never going to go back to what it was. It's a close familial relationship. Ain't never going to go back to what it was. But even, I don't understand it, okay? Like, everybody whiffs emotionally sometimes. But anyways, just stick to the theme of meaning instead of running over that tired old ground. I do that, as you know. But stick to that theme of meaning, or finding meaning in your life. And my meaning has always been helping other people. Being selfless. And then, you know, as I've gotten older, I realized that selflessness stuff, you know what? Be the best that you can be, and you can help people. Put yourself in a position where you can help people. I mean, I was always the type of guy, if I had $20, I'd give you 10. You ask me to borrow 10, I'll give you 10. If I have 20, I'll give you half of what I got. And, you know, whether that was a reflection of low self-esteem, or just like I had that Jesus ethic hammered in my head. Like, you know, if a nigga be asking you for your cloak, give him your shoes as well, or however it goes. You know, I don't know what it was about me that I was like that, but now I realize how wrong that is. You know, it's not helping people. It's like even when I was living here in the last couple of years, like giving away my TV and buying that dude a PlayStation, helping that dude out. You know, he's the same damn shitbag that he was. You know, I just made his life a little better, and even his outlook on me didn't change, let alone his outlook on himself and getting his own head straight, and his outlook on the world. It's like I said, he knocked on my door and said, I got a package, and I was like, just leave it out there, I'll get it. And he goes, I see you're still being mean to me. I gave you like about $1,000 worth of shit and spent a lot of time with you and signed to keep you out of jail. I'm being mean to you. If I want to be mean to you, when I had you in that arm bar, I would have broke your fucking arm. But that would have just been mean to myself because he would have just found some evil way to get back at me. Like, I don't know, spraying some gasoline under my door and setting it on fire. By the way, I lived with a guy that actually threatened to throw a gas can through my window and then ended up in prison because he was losing his mind in the process. So that didn't come out of nowhere. I was living in this one apartment. This guy was pissed at me, and he was like, "Man, I'll throw a gas can through your window." And he said it. You didn't have the balls enough to say it to my face because you didn't say shit like that to my face back then. Like now, I'm a little crippled up dude. If you didn't say shit like that to me, you won't want to do that back then. But he just said it in passing. I heard him like out the door. He wanted me to hear it. You know, they call it loud talking amongst the so-called black community. He was loud talking me and walking away rather quickly up to the safety of his apartment upstairs. But later on, he got thrown in jail. And I think the guy that arrested him was actually my best friend, who was a Kansas City cop at the time. Because there's a whole story behind that, but I'm a little foggy on it, and it's kind of gross. So, yeah, I don't want to go there. I ain't being mysterious, man. It's just fucking gross, man. I don't want to go there. Insanity is not a pretty thing, but yeah. And, you know, this guy has already been involved in arson, which he admitted to me, where he was like, I swear to God, man, I didn't burn the house down. I was just driving the car. I was just with them dudes, you know. But, because one day he was like, before people moved into that meth house, he's like, man, somebody ought to burn that down. You can see him mulling it over. He said, yeah, I burned down a house before. And I thought about it, and he's like, oh, I just confessed to arson. He goes, no, man, I didn't mean I burnt the house down. I kind of just meant that, like, you know, I was driving the car when I didn't know what the guys were, you know, he was like backpedaling, like, you know, he didn't know me that well at the time. He thought I was going to be like 911 or something. He's like, I think a couple of times he's like, I done told you too much shit already. It's like, nobody asked you to. I'd be happy to sit out here by myself. You know, I enjoyed the. I want to put on my glasses, and I don't even know where they be. Oh well. Oh, there they are. Yeah. Like I enjoy the challenge of talking to mentally insane people because it's interesting. You know, to try to follow along with their crazy metaphors and whatnot. You know, like one time he's just sitting in the basement and at his other house over here, and he's just like, man, you know what would be cool? And I'm like, what? And there's other dudes there, and he goes, we just had a fountain in here with some raspberry soda. You know what I mean? You know them chocolate fountains they got? Nobody is talking. I don't even know what the hell he was talking about at the time, but he just got to thinking about that. And he's, raspberry soda? Do they even make raspberry soda? But yeah, talking to him was always like, it was a minefield, first of all. He'd get insulted if you called him dude. He found that to be an insult. And I'm like, listen, man, that's just the way we talked back in the day. He's like, don't call me dude. My name is Slim Shady. my name is, yeah, my name is Christopher. Don't call me dude. You know, you get really mad about it. And I'm like, I can't believe you're getting that mad about something like that. It's like, how is that an insult, you know? It's an insult if you're in the Old West because a dude was a fancy pants, you know. A dude was a guy that was a bit of a poser and dressed all fancy. Like, in, you know, the scenes in the bars where the guy walks in and he's got the fancy clothes on there, like, man, look at this dude walking in here. You get all, you know, then they get up in his grill and stuff. Anyways, I've been using a lot of like street lingo lately, but isn't it better than me swearing? Really? I mean, I've been thinking about it. Like I swear too much. I got more reason to swear than most people. Like most of y'all listening to this don't even have a clue as to my life story because I gotta keep that on the DL. Um, but there's a couple of y'all that do know the whole deal. It's like if there's anybody that's got a right to swear, it's me. I'm not an Ethiopian or a Biafran starving in Africa with flies on my eyes, but uh, it's like it ain't been an easy life, and I have experienced hunger, but not like that. Um, the so far of the various miseries and unpleasantness that I've sampled in my life, the worst of it is betrayal. Okay, betrayal, man. And the main betrayal in my life, I can't even go into and tell you about because it's too involved, you know. But I'm talking about three major betrayals from people you've known your whole life, your closest. Actually, all my closest family members except for two, like yeah, 3 out of 5 betrayal, man, and that's the worst. When you think you know somebody and then you need their help, and then they just stab you in the back. They just continually, like prison shank you. Like where they try to they got the little like sharpened toothbrush and they try to get in as many jabs as possible. That's this guy over here. And he was doing that shit to me, and I used to even laugh about it while other people would get mad about it. I just figured out that's him. And then it started to reach more epic proportions, and the shanks started getting bigger and bigger until they turned into Bowie knives. So, man, like my dad said, I can talk a blue streak, man. It's 22 minutes. But I didn't sleep enough last night. I got to fill out some form for Medicaid and get that in the mail. I like to get that shit in a government mailbox, though. And I got a real anal retentive aid worker that I'm thinking I should fill it out today and give it to her tomorrow. I got till April 3rd. I'm so paranoid about my medical coverage. Of course, you should be. That I always mail in the form and then call up Medicaid and make sure they got the form. And then if they didn't get the form, and they tell you to do that, if you don't hear from them. And I'm like filing my taxes late, if you want to use an analogy. Except for, yeah, they're gonna take all my money because I can't, I'd be without health care. I might as well eat them pills in the cupboard. It's not gonna work. Okay. I guess they got to keep me alive legally. I don't know. They don't got to keep teeth in my head. I know that. But anyways, I got to get that in the mail. Get that filled out today. And I don't know what I did with my receipts from my landlord. Yeah, I don't know if I need those or what kind of documentation I need. I hate filling out forms worse than anything. It took me like I don't like to like try to fumble around and learn things on the computer because I'm very aware of that hourglass and that I have limited time, and I'm happy to waste all the time in the world running my ever fucking gob. Love talking, obviously, but I just found out that I could when I was doing that rap thing, I found out I could minimize the camera and like size it and put it in the corner and then read off of the screen. So I was reading off of a scroll from a documentary where they had the words to the judge's ruling. I realized that I probably can't find a copy of that short story called Babysitting that I want to read. I think I read my favorite short story that I wrote, which was a Big Time Player, but Babysitting, it's comes at you from a different angle. It's kind of funny. Um, it has a punchline. It's really like a long joke with a punchline at the end, and it comes from like 3 different perspectives. I really like it. It's pretty well-read, bright person. let them read it. They loved it, you know. Um, I wrote other stuff for them, and they weren't just waxing and buffing my ego because they didn't have no reaction to it at all. Didn't even say nothing about it, man. I gave you my masterwork, you know. I didn't get no response out of it. It didn't read at all. So, I got this theory about art, like, don't inflict your art on people. You know, it's like when I put up um, my Blackfeet story or my little section of my book. It's like, it's there. People want to look at it. They can look at it. I don't care. You know, that's not why you do art. You know, you do. It's not why. If you're doing art because you want attention or because you want money, or you're being a mercenary, you know, that's not going to be good, man. It's gotta be a part of you that you rip out of yourself and you mold into clay, or you put into words, or you put into sound. You know, it's got to, for it to be real. That's why, like, the one thing I wrote is just so raw and so nasty. Um, it's like, I know that's gonna turn off a lot of people, but that's just my life experience, man. That'll make those brothers from NWA say, "Whoa, man, take it easy." Damn, you know, it's harsh. You know, I gave that to a couple of people and they didn't make it through it. It's just, yeah, the, the way the thing is constructed is very, very cool, though. You know, it's like, it's very, very cool, and I'm very, very proud of it. But I don't inflict my art upon people. And just the same way that, I don't inflict, I don't try to make this entertaining, like, visually. You know, uh, I'm not careful. I'm not scripted. It's like, it is what it is. I'll let it be what it be. So, it's not like the idea of me, like, gathering a following, and money screws up art anyway. Money is the enemy of art anyway. You can see it down the line. Like, shit, man. Pink Floyd had a song about it. Have a cigar, you're gonna go far. Have you seen the charts? We're off to a hell of a start. There could be millions in the offing if we all pull together as a team. Once you start, this is a corporate damn world, man. When they started, I knew we was in trouble, man. When they started changing the names of stadiums to, like, A&T, AT&T Park and shit like that. They start changing the names of. They never made Fenway Park. I think they kept Fenway Park at least, and Yankee Stadium. I don't think they made, like, Pentium Park for the processors, or um, I can't think of nothing, man. Huntington Bank Stadium for Yankee Stadium. I knew he was in trouble when they started doing that shit with this corporatism, and yeah. So that's why I don't care. You know, I feel it's a shame that I can't read for shit and I can't act for shit, and that, like, if I that I wrote this thing that's actually pretty good, and I can say that objectively. It's pretty good, and it's unlike anything um, that I've ever come across, and I've read a lot of books, and so it has that uniqueness thing going for it. And I'll tell you a little secret about it. It's like, it has 3 books, and each one has what looks like an author's name under it, but it's an anagram, and the anagram is one sentence that all goes together. So an anagram, of course, is like where you mix up the letters, and, like, for instance, I don't know. They had it in Silence of the Lambs, where Clarice Starling said, "Your anagrams are starting to show," and she's like, writes down what he says and then mixes up the letters and like, figures out like there's hidden messages in there. But I did that with the whole novel. And the novel's like three completely different stories. There's a long Blackfeet novel. There's a story about a serial killer that kills prostitutes. And then there's something that's pretty indescribable, um, that I call the Three Faces of Steve. And I read part of that on here before. Nobody gives a shit, man. I know that. Nobody gives a shit about that kind of stuff, man. I understand that. There's no name attached to it. And I ain't nobody. I'm just some dude. All I got to know is I know it's good. That's all I got. That's all I need, man. I don't need no money for it. Y'all be paying me money anyway if you pay your taxes. I had people offer me money just for talking on here and keeping them company. It's like, man, you're already doing your bit, And the fact that you actually support me by listening to me at all, why in the hell would I want to get in your wallet on top of that? I'm already getting into something much more valuable than your nickels and dimes, and that's your time. That you actually think it's worth the time to listen to me talk. That's a very high compliment in my book. I got a whole different, another way of thinking about things. It's just the way I am. And by the way, I killed it lifting weights last night. I mean, I killed it. I was like, I blew through them weights. I'm like, whoa, I got stronger. It's like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have gave. Again, I just give shit away. It's like if I have $20, I'll give you 10. I don't care. So I gave away like weights that I need now to my nephew, and I don't even know if he's using them. But again, people don't keep their word. Like I told him when I gave him the shit, I was like, I might need these 10-pounders back because I don't know how I'm gonna do with this weightlifting stuff. And like now I need them back. And I had I had bought him out of my own pocket a set of dumbbell bars. And I was like, I'll tell you what, man, you come and get the dumbbell bars, and we'll make a trade. And you give me back them 2 10-pounders, because I gave him a whole bunch of other weights too. And I was like, but these two 10-pounders, the non-metric ones, the metric ones you can have, the 8.8 pounders and the 25 or the 17.6 pounders or whatever, you can have that. That's free. Call it a Christmas present. But I might want them 10-pounders back because I might go through the weights. But he didn't keep his word, man. And he didn't keep his word to the point where it was months that I had them barbells sitting in the house. He didn't keep that word to the point where I worked up from 5 to 25, and I'm ready to do 30 now. At 60 pounds. I'm ready. And yeah. So what I did is like I bought myself my own set of barbells because I liked his because they had like rubber washers in them that keep them tightened down. So, and his dad come over and I put him in the car, and I'm like, he's more likely to get him that way because he don't drive. Because highly dysfunctional. I come from highly dysfunctional people. But yeah, I a little bit irritated about that, But I don't know. What I might have to do since I've gotten considerably stronger is break what weights I do have down. That's just so irritating while you're lifting weights to they're spiral type things to change the weight in the middle of your exercise and stuff. Then you got to change it back for the next exercise you do. It's just irritating. But anyways, I was going to stick to a central theme of meaning, or trying to find meaning, and how important that is to think that your life has meaning or has value. And I guess that's why I share so much of myself on here. I'd share it all, but I can't. Also, the fact that the grim specter of death is always hovering around me like a cloud. It's like So, I don't want, after going through all that suffering and all that pain and all that shit that I've been through, man, I want it to mean something. I want it to have some kind of value for somebody, and I see where I have, maybe their lives, you can't do like a Jimmy Stewart Christmas movie thing where you disappear yourself out of existence and then, these people are in Skid Row and stuff. And it's like, wow, they're shitty people when I was around, but they're really fucked up when I'm gone. You can't take yourself out of the equation like that. But I realized, like, uh, morally, I've had no effect on these people. Not morally. I might have made their lives more enjoyable, um, or easier, because I'm a soft touch as far as when it comes to money and giving stuff away. That's where my effects board for my guitar is, over at this guy's house my foster brother's house. My other effects board, because I had a GNX4 and I had the GNX3 to make your guitar sound any old kind of way. It's at the other guy's house. I wanted us all to be like a trio and play guitars together, and I need that stimulation. I'm not like a guy that can sit in his room and just play his guitar. I mean, I need somebody to play for, and I need somebody to bounce ideas off of. And I done give up. After 30 years of trying to make that happen in every way imaginable, I done give the fuck up on that. And the funny part is, like, I done give up on it. Now I was still started to get like emails and stuff about music, from this guy who's got really good technique and kind of like leery of the whole theory thing. People are always leery of the music theory stuff, and it's like, dude, you don't have to be fucking Beethoven with the music theory. You just have to know a little bit. You have to know what notes you're playing, to communicate with other people. If you don't have the ears that you can hear the sound and reproduce the sound. That's what made me want to play guitar in a certain kind of way. Is I was watching the show when I was like 10 years old, and there were some musicians sitting around talking. They were talking about music, and the one guy looked over at the other guy who had a guitar and said, "Man, give me something to eat." And the guy just started playing something, improvising it, and then he started playing along with him, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay, I'm gonna be a guitarist. I got to now." So, yeah, but that's another dream that I just. It's funny that I bailed on that dream, and then I started getting emails from this guy. I was like, no. You had 30 fucking years, okay? It's like I gave you a guitar with the fucking notes on it. I gave both them guys guitars and put notes on it just so they would learn the fretboard. Every guitarist got to learn the fretboard if you don't have the ears where you can hear an A and then reproduce it on the guitar. You have to know the position of where the notes are on the guitar. It's just basic shit. Then my brother had the unfortunate poor graces to tell me that I was actually being made fun of behind my back for always stressing the importance of knowing where the notes are on the fretboard by my foster brother, and having him roll his eyes and it's like, oh, he's talking about that note stuff again. And it's like you want to choke you like Bart Simpson and make your eyes bug out your head. It's like what the hell kind of sense does that make? And I think like pot is not a harmless drug, because I think a lot of it had to do with that. I can remember when we were fucking 20 years old, or I was 20 years old, and I was like playing shit, and I didn't smoke pot at the time, and I was playing shit on guitar, and they were upstairs high, and I can remember like we go over there and we start playing guitars, and people get too fucking high, and you don't get nothing done. It's I know that sounds anti-musician, even like, oh, musicians, of course they get high, but those are the guys that are already been playing together and already jumped over that hurdle of like learning how to play together. Then you can get high, and then you can play together. It's like I tried to also. There's a third guy I tried to play guitars with. That's a bass player. We tried like one song and it didn't sound good the first time, and he was like, "Oh," he just couldn't even stand to listen to it, man. You know, because we were out of sync with each other, and it's like, yeah, that's the first time we tried this shit. And I can remember playing Led Zeppelin "The Rain" song in front of him. You know, just I killed it. I don't know why, but I killed it. It's a good guitar song because the guitar carries the song. And he was like, "What a waste!" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he said that should have been recorded or something. He's like, you know, and I would play guitar over there a lot, you know, but we never played together. He would want to play along with songs off of the computer and not play with me, or like you know, lay down. Or, I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'm not assertive, but like lay down this bass track for me and let me play it over top of it. Just do this. Just do boom, 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 and I can go and play over top of it. You know, it's like I even bought a bass guitar. That was one of my last ditch efforts. Is I bought a bass guitar, and I'm like, I'll be the guy that plays the bass, and I'll play bass for you. Thinking about the one guy that's got the supreme technique that he seems to be more heavily into it than my foster brother. And you know, I'll lay down the bass lines, but then I had to buy a right-handed bass because the left-handed bass cost too much, and then I had to take it in and pay money to get it flipped over, and they did a shit job on my regular guitar, and they did a shit job on that bass, and they put an ivory nut in it, which is the part that the strings go through before you get to the windy things, and you know, it costs like $200. It's like yeah, 200 bucks for fret buzz, man. Thanks. And then they actually put scratches on the back of my gray beauty over there, and it's like, yeah, well, at least they fixed the electronics in it. But it's like I could have went back there and be like, look, man, you see this screwdriver mark you put on the back of this guitar when you was taking off the plate on the back? I mean, come on, bro. But I didn't do that. But yeah, meaning. I mean, I don't know how you find meaning in your life, you know, but for me, I heard something like I don't know where I heard it. I think it was said maybe about Babe Ruth. I don't know, but it's like maybe it was said about Art Rooney, the owner of the Steelers. But they said that the measure of a man's life is how many people he's touched or had an impact on in his life. And Babe Ruth, for all his faults, was a very giving person. He always had time for people, always made time for people, and he had like a huge turnout at his funeral. And yeah, it's like that left an impression on me watching that or hearing that. You know, like the value of a man's life is how many other lives he's touched. So I was like, you know, so I got that from my mom. It's like the selflessness. And then if you take that too far, though, you kind of bankrupt yourself. And then I'm realizing now as I got older that it's like it's a naive way of thinking. It's to I mean, I still got I have plenty of time from being disabled, so I still got to pursue my hobbies of self education and music and writing, reading, and I used to fish all the damn time. I don't get to do that anymore. But being an outdoorsman and all that stuff. So, but so it wasn't like I was impoverishing my life, like not developing myself, but it's like I spent a lot of time around people that really didn't give a shit about me, and like I got the stupid idea, and I got that stupid idea when I moved in here 10 years ago. that, like, well, I'll live here, and I'll be a positive influence on people. And I've learned through my 52 years, going on 53 coming up, is that there's this rule among people called the lowest common denominator. It's like you are far less likely to drag people up to you than to get dragged down by the lowest common denominator. So when I moved in here, it's like, so this is life. We're gonna sit around and be high and do nothing. And then I was like, man, can't beat them, join them. So I started getting high and I started smoking more pot. And then it's like, smoking a lot of cigarettes. I started smoking more cigarettes. I became a worse person instead of making them, I'd always go over there and like, let's go do something. Let's go fishing. Let's go someplace. Let's do something. Like, no. What we're going to do is we're going to sit around, be high, not move, not do nothing, not play guitars and watch TV. Maybe play video games. What the fuck, dude? How long do you think your life is? You got some gray in your beard and you're playing video games and sitting around getting high when you could be out doing something. You could be like playing music. You could be deriving joy from that. You could be learning. I didn't understand none of it. All I understood is like lowest common denominator. It's like I got dragged down. And, that's on me. I had circumstances. Everybody got circumstances. But, it's like I was always trying to do things to help these people. Like even to the point where I had all this real personal stuff on this therapy disc. I was like, I gave it to this person because they were crying their eyes out to me about their life and how miserable they were and everything. And I was like, you know what, you can make it through. Here's something that might, if you watch this, you can make it through. Because they were like, I don't know how you do it. I was like, I don't know how you have peace of mind. She was like, I hate coming here and crying on your shoulder because I know the kind of life you had, and I know what you're, she's like embarrassed about it. I'm like, look, all I'm saying is like, you can get to that place too. So I gave them that disc. Not only did they never watch it, they lost it, and I didn't know where it was. So I just went ahead and put it online because this is floating out there in space. All my personal dirt, all my personal secrets I share with this person, and they had such regard for me that they not only did not watch it, they lost it. They didn't even know where it was, and I offered them. I know they didn't know where it was because they have a drug habit, and I offered them $40. I said, just $40, man. Give me my damn disc back. $40. And yeah, cocaine. We're talking cocaine. Cocaine is a hell of a drug, but it's a hell of a motivator too. So I know that thing is lost. Nobody knows where that's at. And so I was like, man, I'll just put it online and put it out there, and just keep it on the DL and share it with a couple of people here and there. Because it's just too nasty, and it names names. It tells where the bodies are buried, and other people don't want that stuff put out there, and I gotta respect that. But yeah, another thing I did for that person is like I offered. I was like, I will go into that Coleman Professional Services place for you, or with you. I will sit there with you. Because it's like I said, I've been through the process, and it's like I will sit in there with you. You name a day, and she couldn't drive at the time because I bought her car off of her, which she regretted. But I bought her car off of her for $1,000, and then gave it to my sister who was learning how to drive. Still don't have her goddamn license, the one that took a shit on me. I said I'm a reverse hobbit, and I gave her that car on my birthday because I had the $1,000 to spare, and it was like a good car for $1,000. And they're still driving it today. That was like 2016 when I did that, and it's still driving it today. It was here, as a matter of fact. It's the car that I put the barbells in. And yeah, family, man, you got to love them. You can't kill them. You got to love them, right? No matter what. Nah, that's not true at all. It's like you ain't doing them no favors by allowing them to shit on you all the time, you know. And uh, the thing I went through in the summertime with that boat, you know, the promises that were broken with that boat, and yeah, the way that guy acted, that's all documented on here. Unbelievable, man. It's like, yeah, me and him are quits. Um, I got him this guitar. See, he has this thing where he put the universal monsters. You know how people get them tats, weird tat ideas. Well, he has like the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula. You know, he's got all this shit tatted up like on sleeves, like sleeves. So I found this guitar on the internet for like super cheap. It's something called decoupage, which is a weird art form, which is not paint. I don't know what the hell kind of paper mache type of thing they did, but they put, it is dope, man. It is so cool and so awesome. I don't even have a picture of it, and me and him parted ways, but that guitar is over there. So I may have mentioned this before, I may not have, but this guitar is like nothing I've ever seen anywhere, and it has like super uh, accurate representations of it, and on the actual guitar body of the Wolfman, the Universal monsters, the classic monsters, the Wolfman, Dracula. It even has the Lost film on it, the vampire, whatever the hell he was supposed to be, from London After Midnight, with Lon Chaney Sr. on it. Had the Mummy on it, you know, and it was all done like beautifully. It's clear that this guy put a shitload of work into this guitar, but he also played the guitar, the frets flat on it, and I got it for like $76. I'm not even making that shit up. And he had it refretted. And I was watching the one guy with the excellent technique playing it, and I was like, damn, they really did a fine job on that guitar. And it also, like, out of the headstock, it looks like something took a bite out of the headstock, like a shark bit it or something. And it's got like two eyes. Like, it's just so cool, you know. And I got this idea where I learned the Munsters theme. Do 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 do. So I learned to play that on guitar. But the problem is I'm left-handed. That's a right-handed guitar. Okay. So I was like, man, I can make this cool video where I can call it "The Munsters on the Monsters," with U and a O. You know, the Munsters theme. Play the Munsters on the Monsters, and have just a close-up of somebody playing that theme on the guitar. And the theme's not that hard, but I couldn't get them motherfuckers on board for that either. And I couldn't do it. And I was even to the point where, like, look, I'll dub the track in, you know. But then shit started to go down in the building. I was into playing guitar. This was during the before this place turned into Meth Central, the place in Massillon to buy meth. This neighborhood. Uh, I was into it, you know, and maybe I'll go back and dig that out and play some of that for you. One part of it's kind of actually hard, which is I'm remembering it now, and it's like, yeah, that one part's tricky, and I don't like to play without distortion anyway. But maybe I'll do that as a project. I got a lot of things I'd like to do. Reading the short story, the babysitting thing would be easier, but I can do that too. Dig up that theme song and polish it up a little bit. I just don't like playing clean. I had plans on. I wrote this other thing that's like 5-6 minutes on guitar, super challenging to play, but I did remember it, and I did work on it, but it just doesn't sound the same without the right distortion. Played clean, it just doesn't sound the same, and yeah. I played a little bit of the riffs to it. How'd the riff to it go? Shit. I don't remember. I got the Munsters theme in my head now. But yeah, it's that guitar. I should at least have a picture of that, man. That's you never see nothing like that in your life, man. That thing was a work of art. Got that for $76 because you couldn't play it. It's just what they call a wall hanger, a decorator. Just hang it on your wall. But yeah, it had the creepy eyes on the headstock with a bite taken out of the headstock, and then it had all the monsters in decolletage on a light creepy green background, and you know, a creature from the Black Lagoon was on there too. Um, it's an awesome thing. Oh, I can talk for like 2 hours, man. You know this. You know this. You know how I do's. Um, but yeah, I shouldn't get. Um, I'm going to get sleepy. I'm going to sleep in the afternoon. Yesterday was a weird day. Like I said, I killed it with the weights. And I didn't eat. I didn't have no appetite yesterday. I ate I ate a bagel and a half with cream cheese, and drank a bunch of water. And then I lifted weights, and then I waited a while, and then I tried to walk, and then I got a little bit nervous with my heart. I gotta be careful not to get thrown in the hospital. I don't want to be in the hospital. Is the last fucking place you want to be with this COVID thing. I should also mention that I talked to my cousin in Florida, in Volusia County, and they pretty much got the same deal down there. It's a more populous state, and so they have at least double the cases we have here. I don't remember the amount of deaths, but his county has 11 cases. Last I checked, my county has 8. But I was calling mainly because the dude just got a job he liked at a sawmill, because he worked at this one place for so many years, buffing out cars at a paint shop, and then the paint shop got bought out by Mako, and then they found a reason to kick him out. It was like privately owned, and then the owner sold it to Mako, like a body shop, painting, and his job was like a sander or a buffer, and his older brother is really good at painting cars, and they work together and stuff. And then I don't know where his brother's working at now, but I know he got fired. I think his brother just walked. He's like, man, you fired my brother, I'm gone. The Japanese have an expression for that, filial piety. Family. They take family so far, man. You ain't even out of the family when you dead. they care about their ancestors and have light candles and incense and shit for their ancestors. But anyways, so my cousin he was out of work, and he had some savings because he's like the biggest, I don't know what you call somebody that penurious. I don't know what you call somebody that saves money, like puts it in his sock. He's just like don't spend no money. So he blew through his savings, because you always do when you don't got no work. And then he was doing like Job Corps, and then he got this hooked up with this job he liked at the sawmill, and he got paid extra as being like a transport guy and driving other people to work and stuff like that. And they shut the state down. I figured he'd be out of work, but he just started this job, man, and then like he's out of work, and he's got like a beer habit. I don't think he'd mind me saying he got alcohol. He's an alcoholic, and he quit smoking for 40 days, which blew my mind. But then he fell back into the cigarette habit. So you got the monkeys to feed, and you don't got no income. That's a problem. He was saying something about Trump having a relief package where sending people $1,200. I assume I'm exempt from that since I'm on disability and getting $1,200 a month anyway. But I think I got to check during the Bush administration, where they just
threw me a random check in the mail as an economic stimulus package. Felt like a bribe to me, but whatever, you know, money spends. Uh, but yeah, Florida is pretty much the same as here as far as like everything's shut down, and that's of course there's so many people out of work in Florida. It's outrageous because all the Disneyland, it's a tourist state. They're tourist dependent, and so yeah, it's pretty tragic what's going on down there. I felt bad for him. He was okay with it. He's like I guess he's got family that helps him out, will help him out and stuff, and he I don't know what they're doing as far as, I don't think he worked there long enough to get unemployment. And I don't know what he didn't seem worried about it, though. Is my point. Um, but yeah, that's where I try to find meaning, is like by giving to other people, and like this is really a selfish act, really, me like talking on here. It's like a selfish act because I just enjoy the sound of my own voice so much, and I think I'm so damn clever. I can barely stand it myself. You know, it's like I'm so brainy, my hair can't even live on my head because grass don't grow on no busy street. It's just, hey, I can't help the way I am. I was born to be a genius because that's all I can do. So unfortunately, my mom sung to me. God bless her. She also read to me, so it balances out. She used to read to me all the time. I had a good mama. She used to read to me all the time, and I was always bookish. I was so bookish, like I said, I was a little kid. I knew what the word ogre was, and I was like tiny. I used to read like way over my age group, and my mom was always reading to me, and but she would also sing to me, which ruined my ears. I never, because she couldn't hit tune to save her life, man. She was terrible at singing. The funny part is my dad could sing, but he never sang because he was not a happy person. But occasionally I would catch him humming or singing to himself when he thought nobody was around. And uh, that evil, knife wielding, murdering son of a gun could sing. It's like, why wouldn't you sing it to me, man? Maybe I'd have a good musical ear right now. I can never do impressions either. That's a huge regret. I love impressions. I love to be able to do impressions. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I did impressions for somebody. They said I could do somebody, but I don't remember who it was. If it was Bill Clinton or who it was. But yeah, uh, anybody can do like Samuel L. Jackson. Say what again, motherfucker? You know, all you gotta do is just yell. But yeah, like my dad could sing, but he never sang to me. My mom sang to me, and I didn't have a lot of access to music. So I'm a little kid, and I'm hearing her singing lullabies to me, like "Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mom ain't gonna buy you no mockingbird. She's gonna ruin your pitch in your ear, but she still loves you, little dear." I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, yeah, I try to sing sometimes. Sometimes I can pull it off. One time I was singing and playing guitar at the same time. In my time of dying, I pulled that off, and my older sister was like, "Well, that was pretty good." And I don't remember. My voice is kind of going from talking so much, not drinking enough fluids. And anyways, so yeah, that balanced out. She turned me on to reading and books and made me literate, and then ruined my musical ears at the same time. But my mom loved her kids, man, and she loved us extra hard to make up for our dad being what he was, which is, like I say, man, I would best describe my dad as the boogeyman that hides underneath serial killers' beds. It's the best way to describe my dad. Uh, he was casual about that shit too. It wasn't like nothing to him. The way he'd talk about that stuff and the stories he would tell. It's like, yeah, I didn't get to hear about the Three Little Pigs and, Henny Penny and all that stuff. I got to hear about Three Niggers in the Park and the Bloody Knife. That was the fables I got when I was a kid. The funny part was is my dad used racist slur, but he wasn't racist. It was weird. He was an interesting cat, man. As far as interesting, he blows me away. He was an interesting dude, and he was real. He didn't play. That's why I took everything way too seriously, and I was way too nervous in school because there was consequences, man. He didn't play no games, man. You had to watch what you say. It's probably why I'm such a goofy son of a bitch now. As far as like I always say, I don't mind looking like a fool and singing in falsetto, singing a lullaby to myself in falsetto. But man, he did everything was taken like dead serious, man. And yeah, it was like, like I said, he looked like he wanted to kill me because I spilled the salad dressing. He gave me like the Tony Soprano eye over that shit. Like, he looked at me kind of like this. I was like, I got them chills and shit. You know, that shit'll make your balls shrivel up to the size of raisins. You know, that ain't even a yard stare. What they call a yard stare, man. The yard stare is more like this, like empty. It's like I don't give a fuck what happens. He had more like a madness to it. It was more like this. Let's see if I can do this. And then at that point you're like, okay, And then there's the fact that he was like ridiculously strong. Like I said, he put a bruise on my foster brother's chest with his finger and knocked him down with his finger. And my foster brother weighed 165 to 170 pounds. He knocked him over with his finger. He had a finger that I think he jammed it in a rifle or something, but he had a finger that he couldn't bend. And I said this shit before, but when he would have to make a fist, he'd have to reach over with his thumb and then clamp that down to make a fist. And so he had like a stone finger. And he's like, man, you don't talk to me that way. And poked him in the chest and knocked him on his ass. And he had like a bruise on his chest the next day. It looked like somebody poked him with a poke cue in a bar. And yeah. So you knew you had all that rage. You knew he killed people. You knew that it wasn't nothing to him, you know. And you also had like all that emotional volatility where things could be cool. Usually when he was quiet, it was bad. You know, it was like when he was quiet, it's like it's time to get on them tippy toes, man, and get the fuck out of Dodge. That's probably why I became an outdoorsman. Indoors wasn't safe. But yeah, man, he was something else, man. There ain't nobody that met my dad that don't remember him. Ain't nobody, you know, nobody. Uh, People always talk big about their dad and shit. Man, I wish my dad was a more loving dude and a nicer dude. And I wish he didn't kill people. And I wish he wasn't such a damn badass, evil motherfucker. Like planning shit out, evil. Like he would blow up in your face, and like beat you up at a soda machine. Story I told before with my aunt over nothing, but he would also plan shit out like he did to that sergeant in the army. where he got him drunk first, and then said "after you," and then kicked his ass down the stairs. And he's like, "Oh, I never threw a punch, man. I just kicked the living shit out of him." And then the next day, you know, the sergeant wouldn't admit it. All that shit's all true, you know. And I found, like I said, told all these stories before. But yeah, it's weird. As evil as my dad was, that I got love for him, you know, because I guess that's because you can't escape your parents. They're part of you. And if I'm going to hate my father, I'm going to have to hate myself, and I don't want to hate myself, you know. So, uh, and I can't deny that part of me, you know. That part, you know, it's like my landlord used to say before I lost my temper at me. He's like, "Yeah, you always say you got a bad temper, but I've never seen it." And I think to myself, you don't want to see that, you know. And I lost my temper on him that one day, and now he won't come within 10 feet of me. And yeah, he won't come nowhere near me. You know, he seemed like yeah, I just got that from my dad. You know, that I go to a bad place. I don't. It's nothing to brag about. It's something I wish I could cut out of my head. I go to a bad place where, you know, I want blood. I don't give a damn if it's yours. I don't give a damn if it's mine. And if we do get in a fight, it's not going to end until one of us is seriously hurt. And I remember getting there I remember losing my temper when I was a little kid, and getting that guy on the concrete and just bouncing his head off of the concrete with right hands, and then he reached up and almost bit my balls off. But like I said, I had his arms pinned back like this. It was just right hands, right hands, right hands, and it was on concrete. And he didn't have no choice, but the only thing he could do, because I had him completely helpless. I was sitting on his chest and had my weight on him. He couldn't move. He couldn't use his legs. And I had my knees on his arms, and his arms just pinned back like this. He just reached up and bit, because my crotch was like right there. And he couldn't reach my balls, but I think he's trying to bite me in the balls, man, to try to save his own life. So, you know, yeah. Couldn't you have taught me to sing, Dad? Wherever you are, you had a good voice. and said he taught me how to go to that evil place, man. And go to that nasty place, man. That nickels in the drive-through. Uh, you know, poaching fish, walking up to some guy outweighing you by 50 pounds and staring him down and be like, "Okay, man, if this is going to happen, it's going to let it happen. I want it to happen." You know, it's like, and I don't act, you know, it takes a lot to get me there ordinarily. But yeah, that's tough, because I know that fighting is stupid. I know it solves nothing. I know it ends up with police and jail and courts and all that shit. Unless you hurt the person, unless you want to be like my uncles, where you visit the guy in the hospital after you put him in the hospital and say the next step, if you open your mouth to the police, if you mention either one of our names, it ain't gonna be the hospital, it's gonna be the morgue, man. We're gonna put you 6 feet under. You know, you ain't even gonna make it to the morgue, because we're gonna bury you in a swamp. And I told all that. I told all them morbid fucking stories before, anyways. About like when I was a kid playing behind that bar where my older brother shot that guy in the leg stealing a motorcycle. I told all them fucking stories already on here. So we're at an hour and 13 minutes. I mean, the I don't really label them, you know. Like, this is the story where I talk about this. Because I looked up something. I was like, I think I made a video where, like, I know I made a video where I ripped up $100 bill. I wonder which one that was. And then I happened to find out when I did that. Now, because I was talking about how it was psychologically torturing. Um, and so people were saying, like, take that guy to court for spraying you in the face with poison. And I was like, first of all, it was an accident. The guy I really was mad at was the landlord. He was the guy that I ran out of here with murder in my eyes. And you know, it's like the landlord. He was just a fuck up douchebag. And or not the landlord, but the guy who sprayed me with the poison. So I didn't really want him. And I talked to my cop buddy about it, and he's like, you know what, the landlord's safe. He's like, the only guy you can get in that is the poison guy. So I called the poison guy. Oh, this is all repeats, and I said, look, man, I got sick from that. You sprayed me with poison. You know, I couldn't taste food the next day. I had a headache for 3 days. What do you think 3 days of my life is worth? And he goes, I don't know. I was like, how about $750? And he's like, I was like, okay, how about $500, which is what I wanted in the first place. You always throw the big number out first in your negotiation. He's like, okay. Then he starts coming at me with lawyers and papers and shit. And I'm like, I ain't signing shit. You know, I'm going to take your ass to civil court, man. And I'm going to hurt you. I'm writing these texts and stuff. And then I got him, you know, to write a text where he said that he's just sign the papers and get the $500, you know. And then I talked to my cop buddy. And he's like, oh, that's all you need. You can take him to civil court and just show the judge that text. That's an admission of guilt. And, you know, they'll probably take his license. I'm like, I'm not interested in ruining that guy's life. That guy got kids. You know, they'll take his license, you know, because he's not, my super experienced cop buddy was like, you're not supposed to be spraying poison in the same room with people. You got proof that you got sprayed in the face with poison. You got a disability. You got a bad heart. He's like they're gonna take his license. They'll take his license. He's not gonna be an exterminator no more. He's not gonna be able to work and feed his kids. Man, I ain't doing that. You know, how's that gonna bring meaning to my life? So I was like, you know what? I want to take that out of that guy's emotional high. And I'm gonna make him think I'm gonna do that shit to him. I'm gonna make him sweat. And I took that $500. He should just handed me the $500 and made it a deal between two men. But that video is called, it's from, fuck, I don't know what that it was called, but it was like a 2-day thing. It was like July 4th to July 5th or something like that. And I wrote, a man's word is worth more than money. We had an oral agreement cast, because that's what the guy's name was. And then I ripped up a $100 bill on camera. And then I was like, I'm going to mail this to this guy. And I'm going to write him a note and put a baseball card in the thing. And I was like, here's a baseball card for your kids. And I'm like, that is really going to fuck with his head, because he's like, what kind of crazy motherfucker? You know, he won't take $500 off of me, but he'll rip up $100 of his own money while he's threatening to take me to civil court. And you know, and I was writing him texts like money don't mean shit to me. And then I made a point of dropping down $1,500 for the rent at a time and paying like 4 months rent in advance. No, it would be $1,700. I took $1,700 and I put it in an envelope and I gave it to Roy, and I had him give it to the landlord to make him think that I could do that kind of shit, that I had that kind of resource, and that money didn't mean shit to me. You know, so I was just fucking with the guy's head. You know, I was like, I'll take that $500, man. I'm gonna take it out of your emotional hide. And I know I caused that guy some consternation, some good old fashioned like, what the fuck am I dealing with here? Because who the hell does that? You know. Then I mentioned his kids. It's probably not cool, but his kids didn't hear about it, and they got a baseball card or a football card off of it. I think it was a Baker Mayfield card, a Baker Mayfield rookie card out of it. So they didn't hear about it, but he's mentioning my kids. He's ripping up $100 bills out of his own money. You know, he's got enough money that he don't care about money, because he's paying the rent 4 months ahead. You know. So that's how I got my little piece of him. And I didn't have to ruin his life. I didn't have to get his license. I didn't have to go through the civil court process. You know? And it's like, I got my payback. You know, hopefully I don't ever want to see that dude again. You know? Because I don't know how that would go. He's a big dude. I I actually assaulted him when he sprayed me with poison. He assaulted me first by spraying me with poison, but he got in my way and was like, "Oh, let me help you." And held up his shirt though, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of my way!" And I just pushed him out of the way because he was off balance, and my leg decided to work. Man, he went at least 200, and he's a big dude, and it wasn't fat, but I had him off balance, and I just pushed him out of my way with one arm, and I went over to the sink. I took off my glasses and I started splashing the poison off of my face and shit. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm wearing glasses so I can get that shit in my eyes. And he was out of there pretty quick. And then the landlord, he had to chirp at me and say, I don't appreciate the way you treated um, the exterminator. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you appreciate, what you don't appreciate. And he's like, nevertheless, he's a friend of mine, and I don't appreciate you talking that way. I'm like, get the fuck out. That's when I went nuts. And I backed him. I got right up, I come right at him, and I backed him out of the building and ran him off his own property. And, these are all repeats, and I'm just wasting your time telling you repeats. Because I know that the people that listen to me probably been with me all the time. I know a lot of your names, and I got to be respectful of y'all, and appreciative that the few people that listen to me do listen to me. I only need like one. I just need like one. I'm not gonna sit here and talk to myself because for an hour and 13 minutes, because that ain't healthy. Okay, it's okay to talk to yourself a little bit, while you're walking around and stuff. But that's kind of what that one novel was like. It's like I split my personality up into three different people, and it has like a dialogue and a story behind it. And that took a lot out of me to write that. And it's like I had to bend my mind all different kind of ways, and I was like, man, this isn't healthy. So, yeah. So yeah, I appreciate y'all, and if you've made it this far in this, I appreciate. I don't need your money, and the fact that you're willing to lend me your ear is a gigantic compliment. Hats off to you, and yeah. And my hat is already off. My hair is off. As a matter of hair is off to you too, man. I'm gonna get my clippers and clipper this shit all the way down. So hat and hair off to you, you guys, and yeah, I don't never ask for no dime. It cracks me up that there's actually people on. I realize I'm stepping on a very positive outro, but that's just what I do. But there's actually people that listen to music and then ask you to give them money to listen, to watch them listen to somebody else's work. I'm like, come on, man. At least when I'm talking to you, you're getting me. You're getting something original. There's been some repeats here, but I mean, you're getting something original. You're getting something. I'm not listening to somebody else's work. I'm not listening to somebody else's comedy routine and reacting to it. Unless you call this a reaction video, because I'm reacting to this shitty life I got. So yeah, but yeah, I'll never ask for a dime. I'm just thankful to have people that appreciate me in any kind of way. Um, and you don't even have to hit the no like. There's always people like subscribe, hit the like button, do that, whatever. No, man, I don't need any of that. I just I don't even need feedback. I just need to know that. I just need to see them views. It's like somebody is watching this. It's like that's all I care about. You know, so that I'm not going through this for nothing, because it's at least providing some kind of car wreck, traffic accident, entertainment for somebody. It's like I can get deep and philosophical with y'all if you want, or I can talk violence, or you talk about whatever. But I'm not going to pander. I try not to be too redundant. I can't help the fact that I hang on too long and that I step on my outros, and I still appreciate, like I said, that you would be willing to listen to some very odd character who is not young and hang around for 100, man, you out of your mind. An hour and 25 minutes and 10 seconds, it says. Goodbye, see you tomorrow, and it won't be no marathon tomorrow. Cause yeah, I just felt like talking. Sometimes you just got to talk. It's good for you. It's chicken soup for the soul. Goodbye.